Welcome back to CETV. I'm Howard Frank from Camera Electronic. Today we've got Brodie Butler, renowned Perth photographer, with us reviewing the Canon R5 and R6. Brodie, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Howard.
You've been having a play with these new products from Canon, the R5, the R6. Tell us what you think.
First impressions, I'm very impressed. I've tested it out with the stills extensively and I absolutely love it. Really happy. The first thing I noticed was obviously the button system has gone back a bit more similar to what the 5D Mark IV and the SLR line has always had, where we've got our joystick back, which I'm a big fan of. Got rid of the touch bar that the EOS R have. I don't think that was very popular. Yep, sure. And we now have the dial back on the back of the camera, like the 5D SLR series has. And that now allows us to change our shutter speed. We can have our aperture on the back dial, and we can change the ISO with this dial up here. So we've got 3 dials now.
But of course you can customise each one of those to different features if you want.
Absolutely, you can customise it to whatever you want, and a lot of the other buttons on this side you can customise as well.
Yeah, cool. And did you ever play with the control ring as well on the lens?
I didn't, but I did look at the different settings you can use, and I'm very interested to use that because obviously you can buy an adapter now if you just have EF lenses.
Yeah, so we've got that one here on the R6 at the moment.
So even if you don't have RF lenses, you can buy the adapter and still take advantage of the control ring, and you can set that up to, you know, be something like ISO or even your aperture.
Yeah, so maybe you do ISO or aperture here and then do your white balance or something along here?
Yep.
Yeah,
so now we can get access to all those features really efficiently without having to go into any menu or press a button to, you know, to change one of those settings. So that's really cool.
Yeah, fantastic. And how did you find it compared to your EOS R?
Well, it's just a tiny little bit thicker. It just fills the hand a little bit more, which I love. I love that. And it's just a little bit heavier, but I like that as well. Yeah,
well, you need to probably balance with the good quality glass.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, I really like it over the EOS R. It's very similar to the EOS R, but it also, if you're coming from like a 5D Mark IV or a 5D Mark III, you'll feel at home because it has the same sort of similarities where the button positioning is. They've moved a few of the buttons around, and they've brought a few buttons back as well, like your magnifying button.
Oh yeah, that's really handy.
And they've also brought the rate button back for the people that like rating their images in the camera.
Yeah, cool.
So that's really good.
So, I mean, we've heard a lot about the high frame rate together with the high res. Did you manage to have a play with that?
We're talking about for the stills?
Yeah, for stills.
Yes, I did. 20 frames a second is rather quick, and it will it'll handle a lot more than you can take. I'm not a sports photographer, so I'm not constantly holding my finger down on the button much, but I did test it out, and it was ridiculously fast.
You're doing some cool fashion and people stuff normally, right?
I am, yeah. And we tried a little bit out today. We had a dancer come in, and he was doing a lot of jumping around. So we tested the frame rate with that, and it was really good. The cool thing is the autofocus keeps up, and expanding on that, the autofocus in this is ridiculous. It is really fast. It is considerably faster than the EOS R and obviously the 5D Mark IV.
Oh, that's cool.
The eye tracking was really impressive from a further distance than I'm used to with the EOS R. So that was impressive, and it was tracking our dancer as he jumped around the place, and I was still able to get the shots with him moving, you know, erratically.
Yeah, I saw a couple of the shots you were just showing me before that were pretty cool with the smoke machine and the coloured lighting.
I do like smoke.
And dancing in the air. It's really amazing results, very impressive. Cool, so what else did you like about it?
The in-body stabilization that it's got, that's really good. I've been wanting that for a while. It's, you know, just makes things a lot easier when you're running handheld, and it's actually quite impressive with video to get, you know, really nice stable shots just by hand holding the camera.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you don't have to use gimbals and things like that, it just makes life a lot easier.
Yeah. So if you are using some of the RF lenses, Canon actually provide a sheet on how many stops that stabilization will get you with certain lenses. If you are using the adapter with, you know, some of the older EF lenses, you won't be able to take advantage as much, but it's still very impressive. And with the right combination, you can get up to 8 stops It's ridiculous. So I didn't fully test that. I've seen some people shooting, like 3 and 4 second shutter speed, shots.
Yep.
So 3 or 4 second exposures handheld is pretty crazy.
Fantastic. I mean, that sort of IBIS handheld in 2 or 3 seconds is amazing. What did you think of the dynamic range?
So the dynamic range has a little bit of an improvement over the R. I think it gives it about 1 extra stop.
Yep,
so
cool.
that is good. I haven't fully tested that yet.
Compared to your 5D, how was it?
Compared to the 5D, look, it took me a while to get used to mirrorless.
Yep.
The 5D, I love that. I love the old school viewfinder, the optical viewfinder. After using this and then going and picking up the 5D Mark IV, I felt like the Mark IV was just a big clunky beast kind of thing. It fits in your hands so much nicer, it's smaller, it's more compact,
Yep.
And obviously a lot more powerful and a lot faster.
Yeah, and now that we're seeing an improved lens range with the RF range ever expanding as well, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You use both card slots?
I did, so yeah, we finally got the extra card slot. The
Awesome.
EOS R only had the one.
Yep.
So we've got an SD card slot and we've got a CF Express card slot. So that is going to be used for the high spec video, like the 8K, the 4K. So that's really good. And yes, I use both and works great.
Yeah, cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing some results from your video next week now, hopefully, once we get a bit more time with it. And so you can hear why this camera is called the King then, by the sound of it. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's right. It certainly ticked a lot of boxes, for me personally anyway, and very excited about this camera.
Yeah, awesome. So if this one's the King, I don't quite know what we call the R6, but you had a little bit of a play with this for a little bit of video, I believe?
I did have a little bit of a play. I did mainly use it just for video. And yeah, it's a great little camera. It's much lighter than the bigger brother, can we say?
Yep.
And yeah, so I was shooting at 4K at 60 frames on that one because I just wanted to maximize the amount of frames I could get as opposed to shooting at 50 frames.
And you're saying with this one that you were mostly using it with the adapter with the EF lens?
I was, yes. So obviously I still have a lot of EF lenses.
Sure.
I haven't fully migrated across yet, but with the adapter it works flawlessly. I haven't been able to pick anything that doesn't work. With the focusing, I also tested it on the R5,
Sure.
and using the adapter with the 70 to 200, I was still able to get pretty much close to 100% coverage of the sensor in terms of autofocus.
Wow, that's
and
great.
it was still lightning fast. So
Yeah, cool.
it's noticeably, considerably faster than the EOS R, and I couldn't really notice a difference between using the RF lenses and using the older EF lenses. So if you are migrating across, from an SLR and you've still got those EF lenses, it's not really an issue. You don't have to upgrade to RF lenses straight away.
No, of course. I mean, you can just do that slowly as you're ready. And
Yeah.
I think the main thing is get one of these babies as they're coming out over the next few weeks. Brody, I know you've been doing a fair bit of video as well. I remember how excited I was when 4K came out. We've got 8K now, like, for God's sake, that's crazy. Tell us what you think about the video on this thing.
Yeah, it was a big claim by Canon when we first heard about it, so everyone was pretty excited to see if they could deliver.
Yep.
8K RAW, which is exciting, especially for the professional video guys out there that want RAW to have that, the maximum quality and flexibility that they can
Yeah, sure.
out of a picture and in post-production. I'm more excited about the 4K, which it can do at 120 frames.
Yeah, that's good,
So that's really exciting to get some really high resolution slow motion footage.
Especially with dancers jumping and things like that we were talking about.
All that kind of stuff. Any sort of fast motion sort of footage will look really good slowed down. So I've always shot at 50 or 60p. And you get a little bit of slow motion out of that, but 120 is on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. Obviously, you've still got your usual 4K modes. It can still shoot 1080. Unfortunately, the RAW is only in 8K, but you still have C-Log and through all of your settings. And the cool thing is it has the full autofocus features through all of the settings. And full audio in all settings except for the 120, which is at a high frame rate.
That's okay, but I suppose the other key thing is now with having these really large video files with the CF Express cards and larger and faster cards, it makes life a lot easier when you're dealing with that sort of file.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do know that also with those high resolutions, Canon has come out and said that you may run into some overheating issues, and they've given us the times on we can shoot. But for most people, I don't think it's really going to be an issue. You have to.
No, most of the time, not going to be shooting for massive amounts of time. It's more shorter clips and things like that, and then maybe mixing them together later. So
yeah. So when you're shooting intermittently like that, the camera's got plenty of time to sort of cool down in between shots. And yeah, so I don't think it's really going to be a huge issue for me personally with the sort of things that I shoot. So
well, if you're getting 3 or 4 of them, you can just run them at different times anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's the solution. We're just going to have to buy a couple and just alternate between them.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, you need your wide lens and your longer lens, and that way it makes it all good.
It does make it easier when you've got 2 of the same bodies with lenses set ready to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Brodie, I know you've always been a big fan of more traditional viewfinders, you've always told me. I noticed you using this articulated screen a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I started using the EOS R and I eventually fell in love with the articulating screen. The R5 and the R6 both have the same articulating screen, so it's really good. For me, I am quite tall at 6'2", so I find shooting portraits I'm quite often hunched over. Now with the articulating screen, it enables me just to hold the camera at a comfortable position where I'm not having to hunch over. So I've now become very used to the screen, and I'm not so in love with the optical viewfinder anymore. But the odd occasion I do still like to put the camera up to my eye to sort of block out your peripheral vision. And the electronic viewfinder in the R5 is definitely an improvement on the EOS R. It's got a high resolution, and you can definitely tell it's a much better picture quality, which is great.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks again, Brodie. That was really insightful to see all the new stuff and see how you've been doing your shoot. Really amazing work. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to see more, please make sure you sign up to our YouTube channel, Camera Electronic channel. Check out our website, cameraelectronic.com.au, and we're always here to help. We love photography. Thank you.